I mean, David Axelrod, of course, Jake makes the point about conversations people have had with family members that we've all had with family members. And that's what this may boil down to, conversations with Biden family members. And from all the reporting, it seems that
his world has shrunk, Anderson, to his family and a couple of close advisors. And someone has to recognize the reality of the situation. There was a memo circulating today among the congressional leadership done by a PAC for the Senate and House, PACs for the Senate and House. And in it, it said that 18% of people now say they believe the president is fit to serve. 18%, including just a third of people who voted for him last time. You put that together with the meeting with Katzenberg, which reflects, I think, the reality. The money has dried up. And I said earlier,
there's a report that Jeffrey Katzenberg, a large fundraiser,
who is his key fundraiser. No one has done more for the president than Katzenberg. He's devoted his life to this project. Someone has to say, here is the reality. There is not a path forward. He said in an interview that he would get out if he was told by his advisors that there wasn't a path forward. If his advisors don't tell him that now, they're not doing him a service, and they shouldn't be his advisors.
This is
guys. This to me definitely sounds like the wake before the funeral. By the way, if you guys haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. This sounds like the wake before the funeral. We've all heard the rumors that President Joe Biden will, in fact, be dropping out of the presidential race coming up this weekend. So, so it's really only a matter of time. And I really appreciate you guys letting me know that we had an echo. So I'll make sure to address that. But I think it's only a matter of time before we actually watch Joe Biden get up on stage in front of the media and make the actual confirmation that, hey guys, this is the end of the road for me. Let's see where this goes, though.
This is the end game now. He may be able to run out the clock and
service, and they shouldn't be his advisors.
This is the end game now. He may be able to run out the clock and stay on the ticket, but you got to lead, and we have a big coalition. You have a lot of African-American voters who are still with Joe Biden. They still want him to stick in there. We're used to seeing our leaders stumble. We're used to seeing our leaders be attacked by the media in ways that aren't fair, and we're slow to let go of somebody's hand. So I'm proud that the Black grassroots is standing with Joe Biden, but the party's bigger than that. The donors are walking away. The best people in our party, the smartest people in our party, are looking at the math and saying the math don't math.
I'm actually really surprised to hear him say this, because he is typically been the the one that was like in the most denial about Joe Biden's condition, like standing by Joe Biden in spite of how devastating the CNN debate against Donald Trump has been, for example, right? There's so many different gaffes. There's so many different problems with President Joe Biden. His recent debate, the follow-up debate with George Stephanopoulos, where he was basically supposed to give confidence back to Democratic voters, back to Black voters, back to Hispanic voters, the entire Democratic base. And all that did was make things worse. So the whole George Stephanopoulos follow-up interview, all it did was exacerbate the whole situation. Absolutely unbelievable.
And so it's important, I think, that we recognize that this could be, this is the end game. One way or the other, it's the end game. And tonight's very important.
One other thing I want to add. I'm sorry, just one last data point, which is that there was an AP NORC poll today that said 2/3 of Democrats want him to drop out, and that, yes, he's got stronger support among African Americans, but there are a fair number of African Americans thought that too, and it's a reflection of what they see.
Well, and Jeff Stelling makes a great point that tomorrow marks 3 weeks since the debate, and I talked to White.
Guys, I would be remiss if I don't bring up this point here. there are a lot of African Americans that have literally given up on Joe Biden at this point. But of course, Joe Biden does have staunch Black supporters that will continue to stand by him no matter what, no matter how obvious Joe Biden's mental decline is, no matter how many lies he tells and ultimately gets revealed, they will stand by Joe Biden. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's kind of like, there are just some people who just will stand by their guy, through thick and thin, no matter how bad things look. It's like, look, that's my guy. He can do no wrong, and I get it. But at this point, for a lot of folks who have actually followed these elections, that follow the debates, who have actually listened, let's see, critically to both candidates, I personally feel like the best option for America looks like it comes from a conservative perspective. Now, let me know what you guys think about that. I appreciate you guys in the live. I see a lot of you guys in the comments. What's up, Keenan? What's going on, Judith, John Kent, Becky Madrid, Teresa, Senior, Nameless. But let's get back to this.
He's got stronger support among African Americans, but there are a fair number of African Americans thought that too, and it's a reflection of what they see.
Well, and Jeff Stelling makes a great point that tomorrow marks 3 weeks since the debate. And I talked to White House officials. I was at the White House last week. They really thought they were going to hit the ground running coming out of this. He was going to do a lot of public events. He was going to do a bunch of interviews. Well, now he's going to self-isolate for a few days. And every interview and public appearance he's done has not done enough to materially change what you are hearing from Democrats behind closed doors, who do believe that it is up to the Pelosi's and Schumers and that small group of advisors around him, the Mike Donnellans, the Steve Richettis, to kind of have that conversation. And even they behind the scenes seem to be getting closer to that point.
And so add to that.
And here's the other thing. You have so many people that, you have so many people who are actually Biden supporters who were looking at Donald Trump. Oh, Donald Trump is a convicted felon. Donald Trump is a liar. They would say Donald Trump is a pedo. Donald Trump is, all these different things that, far left media wanted to push this propaganda, but now it's all coming to light. It's like, look at all of these different judges. Look at all these different DAs, DA Alvin Bragg, DA Fannie Willis, Attorney General Letitia James, Special Counsel Jack Smith. Look at the judges. Look at all of these. Look at the Judge Marchand, who was over Donald Trump's hush money trial, which just came out of nowhere. I mean, this entire case was 100% fabricated by a district attorney who decided to pick up the case that was dead. The DOJ, the feds, all of these different big body agencies, even the previous district attorney before DA Alvin Bragg of New York, had all looked at what Donald Trump was being accused of and was like, no, there's no case here. There's nothing, right? So what they end up doing is they end up manifesting this fake trial. They import a judge that's not even really qualified to be to preside over this hush money trial. And they rig the jury. They rig the witnesses for testimony that could even be brought to the stand. The judge throws out all sorts of relevant testimony from the defense. Oh, no, you can't bring that up. You can't talk about that. No, we don't want to interview. We don't want to question this particular critical witness that would help Donald Trump's defense team. No, you can't do it. So basically, you handcuff him and throw him in the ring to fight against Mike Tyson. And then on top of that, you have the case tried in a state where 90% of voters voted against him. And then when he's quote unquote found guilty on 34 felony counts, now you get to use this label that Donald Trump was a felon. It's like, come on, guys, are you not watching the lies, this strategic attack against Donald Trump unfold? So, and then can we not, I mean, like, who could ignore this recent assassination attempt, which by God's grace has allowed Donald Trump to only be, missing part of an ear. This bullet was intended to end the Republican nominees' debate. This bullet was intended to end Donald Trump's life. So, I mean, for anyone who's paying attention, for anyone who, is being an objective thinker, and, you can't ignore all of these events that have been manifested in front of Donald Trump as distractions, as obstacles. Like, this is not by chance. This is not by accident, guys. Okay. The fact that the sniper on the rooftop at Butler, Pennsylvania, was almost making eye contact with the snipers, the counter snipers on Donald Trump's Secret Service team, should tell you everything right there. Why wasn't this guy taken out? Why wasn't Thomas Crook on top of the Pennsylvania rooftop, which was about 130 yards, depending upon who you talk to? How did he even get on top of the roof when this building is allegedly the same building that local police were operating out of in order to protect Donald Trump? So I'm sorry, there's just way too many things that just don't add up right now.
That what we heard from J.D. Vance tonight, which is not on Daniel Deal's list because it's true, right? It is true. We have a big tent in our party. We love this country. We are united to win. The Democrats see this here. This party has rallied around Donald Trump. For all the controversy about Trump in the past, this party is rallied around Donald Trump. So Democrats are looking not just at the polling, but to David's point, and to Jake raised this point. If you make a policy mistake or you did something out there, you can change that. You can apologize. You can change your policy. You can have an event. This is a performance question. It's not just that they're telling the president, you're losing Michigan, you're losing Pennsylvania, you're losing Wisconsin, you're losing Nevada, you're losing Arizona. You're beginning to put New Mexico in play. What? You're beginning to put New Hampshire in play. What? You put Virginia in play. Hello? It's not just that. They're saying the reason is because the American people, to David's point about the poll, and they're showing the data, they do not believe you are up to the job. That's not something you can change. And it's like, at least if you.
When you have CNN come out and say that the Democrat, when you have CNN come out and say, I mean, you got Anderson Cooper, you got this whole team up here, you got Nancy Pelosi, you got Barack Obama, not openly saying it, but when you have CNN come on here, basically displaying all of these polls that literally say, hey, Joe Biden is not up for the job. Joe Biden cannot do this. They're dispelling all the rumors about Joe Biden right here, right in front of us. They have literally thrown in the towel, so to speak, on Joe Biden right before our very eyes. This is what they're doing right here. CNN does not normally do this. CNN normally ride or dies with Joe Biden, and they're no longer doing this. They're no longer protecting him. They're looking at the polls. They're displaying the polls. They're calling out black voters. It was initially, CNN was initially displaying polls and sharing poll data related to Donald Trump actually beating Joe Biden in the polls, probably for the first time about maybe a month and a half ago. And I was actually shocked to see that. But now they're actually getting more granular, and they're talking about different demographics within Joe Biden's base that are literally leaving. They're walking out the door. And after they've seen this botched sniper attempt, this botched assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life, a lot of people are literally saying, hey, this is like another JFK moment. Why are they trying to take this guy out? There must be something more here.
You come out of the debate, you knew they were raising that question. To Caitlin's point and Abby's point about the interviews and the performances, if you thought you could change it, you have not succeeded because the numbers are getting worse.
I continue to think that this is more than just a political problem. I mean, if Democrats are saying that he's not fit to serve in January, and we're seeing the rapid deterioration of the president before our very eyes right now, I still think we need to have a conversation about who's running the country today and is he fit to serve for the next few months. I'm just not satisfied that this is only a political campaign problem. To me, the country still has to operate. And
Now, this is an interesting point that he's bringing up, because this is now kind of like, okay, are we, is Scott Jennings, Republican strategist and corporate PR advisor Scott Jennings, is he kind of hinting toward the fact that, hey, Amendment 25 is still sitting out there? Should Kamala Harris replace Joe Biden right now, at least for the remainder of his term? Because who's really running the presidency? Who's really running the United States of America? Is it Hunter Biden? Is it Jill Biden running the country? I mean, Joe Biden has been incredibly vocal. In fact, I would almost argue that Jill Biden may be looking to replace Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, or maybe even run for president in lieu of Joe Biden. It's funny, Jill Biden, she's getting a lot of notoriety. I mean, she's all over, what was it Vogue magazine? I don't know if she's been on Vanity Fair, but she's picking up she's in front of the camera, she's in front of the people more than Joe Biden is, right? So this is something that nobody's talking about. Is Jill Biden preparing to run for president of the United States? I mean, technically, we talked about Michelle Obama running for the president, running instead of President Joe Biden, replacing President Joe Biden. But of course, the responses from Big Mike is that, Michelle Obama doesn't want to run for president. She doesn't want to, Mike Obama doesn't want to be the president of the United States. Now, a lot of folks say, hey, Big Mike would have a great chance of winning the presidential election because as a Black woman, this would be a first. She's got ties with Oprah. So many people love Oprah. You get a car, you get a car, and you get a car. Now, I understand that there's mixed opinions about, Oprah. A lot of people are like, well, a lot of people have still not gotten over the fact of how Oprah behaved. Oprah and The Rock during the whole Lahaina wildfire event in Hawaii, and whatever involvement that The Rock and Oprah may have had with the Lahaina wildfires. I get that. But the simple fact of the matter is that they have a tremendous amount of notoriety. There's a lot of money there that would be backing her or him, depending upon what you think about Michelle Obama. But again, going back to what I was saying, though, nobody's talking about Joe Biden running for president, and maybe this is the ace up their sleeve. Maybe Joe Biden is preparing to run for president of the United States. Like, what do y'all think about that? What do you guys think about Jill Biden running as president of the United States because Joe Biden is no longer able to carry the torch? Just type a yes or no in the comment down below if you support that idea, or if you think that that's a possibility, that Joe Biden could be Joe Biden's replacement.
I still think we need to have a conversation about who's running the country today and is he fit to serve for the next few months. I'm just not satisfied that this is only a political campaign problem. To me, the country still has to operate, and he's still supposedly the president.
I would just say quickly, the split screen of Joe Biden walking off that airplane and the imagery from this evening should have Democrats very concerned.
Look, it's pretty remarkable because we saw, obviously, J.D. Vance had his big moment in the sun at the RNC last night, but the reality was all anyone was talking about was the president of the United States last night, ahead of that anyway. And our Jeff Zeleny had a report that kind of rippled across the landscape, where he said that one advisor says that President Biden seems more receptive to these entreaties for him to leave the race. I'm wondering if you can kind of give us a sense of what the conversation is among Democrats right now. Clearly, Nancy Pelosi in particular, and I was talking to one Democratic member last night who said that she is clearly making her moves behind the scenes, that she rarely loses. What's the next turn of this screw?
I mean, first of all, if Nancy Pelosi's making moves behind the scenes, I mean, we already know how Nancy Pelosi never loses in the stock market, right? I mean, we've seen Nancy Pelosi's trades, Paul Pelosi's trades. This is public information, trading in and out of NVIDIA, making unbelievable stock market investment returns. Nancy Pelosi has a tendency of never losing, right? So if Nancy Pelosi wants Joe Biden out of the presidential race, I think there's a very good chance that that's going to happen. Now, again, today's Saturday, July the 20th. The rumors have come out that Joe Biden will be announcing that he will be dropping out of the presidential election this weekend. This is what the rumors are saying. So it could happen today. It could happen tomorrow. We'll definitely see if the rumors come to pass, but we certainly know what kind of influence 100-year-old Nancy Pelosi has on the Oval Office.
Well, look, I think we have to remember, as of right now, President Biden has the delegates to win the nomination. And these are people who ran specifically to be pledged Biden delegates in their home communities. So unless and until there is some movement among those delegates and some chance that when the vote happens, he would not win. Again, I keep saying this, he's got the cards in his hand. And again, members of Congress don't get to vote until the second round of voting. So look, he's negotiating with a pretty strong hand here. I do think the polls matter. I think the other piece, though, that I will tell you that's rippling through the Democrats, number one, I will tell you that most of his people are saying he's not going anywhere. He may have COVID. Guess what? There's a whole new COVID strain that we're all probably going to get at some point this summer or fall. But the other
Well, if we all get this new COVID strand, is President Joe Biden to blame? If he has COVID, why is he out here campaigning? I mean, wasn't it President Joe Biden that was telling everybody not too long ago to get masked up and to get vaccinated? And, because, according to Biden, the vaccination stopped the spread, right? So why are you out here spreading this, this disease, this virus among the United States? I mean, and among your cabinet, among your Secret Service members, among all of these people who, your Air Force One flight pilot. Why are you getting out among millions of people while you have COVID? Like, is that even responsible? I mean, you've been hiding behind closed doors for so long, like, even, during this entire election campaign process. Why are you now out among so many different people now that you have COVID? Like, what in the world is going on? Or is it now because the desperation is so apparent that the only person that really has any confidence that he can hold on to this thing is Joe Biden? Or maybe it's just because he's that stubborn and he's not willing to let it go. Or maybe it's Joe Biden just in his ears so much, like, hey, we can't lose this lifestyle. We can't lose our position in life. You have to remain the president of the United States. Honey, I understand you have a little bit of COVID, but we need to win this election because we can't give up this Air Force One. We can't give up this mansion, this White House. We can't do this. So I don't know who to blame. It could be Joe Biden behind the scenes. There's a number of different factors, but again, Nancy Pelosi definitely wants
pieces. I think people are, I want to say, furious in many corners at the idea that if for some reason President Biden did step down, that it wouldn't be Kamala Harris. The idea, I think a lot of folks don't understand what a revolt there would be in the party if you tried to step over this woman in favor of,
So, I mean, look, I buy you.
And see, guys, Kamala Harris is such an invisible vice president. She's been in this office for a good 3.5 years. And it's like, who is she? I mean, beyond being the word salad chef, Kamala Harris really, if you ask the average American, you guys can comment down below if you agree or disagree. What has Kamala Harris done since she's been in here? This is, and so you have your Democratic Party just completely ignoring the fact that you have a vice president. They're not even saying, hey, we're going to pull Joe Biden out. We're going to, have Vice President Kamala Harris step up and basically be the president of the United States for the interim and possibly be the Democratic, candidate going into the elections. But they're not doing that. there's no serious conversation about that happening whatsoever. So this is Julia Morgan says Kamala DEI. If you guys think Kamala is DEI, type in DEI in the comments down below. But again, like I said, Kamala Harris is literally just filling up, she's keeping a seat warm at best. I just do not see her being Joe Biden's replacement with any kind of seriousness. I think it's really over. I think Joe Biden's replacement comes from outside the White House somehow. I don't know if Nancy Pelosi says, hey, I really want my nephew, Gavin Newsom of California, to be the Democratic, candidate, whatever. Who knows what it's going to be, but only time will tell. I think it's only a matter of time before Joe Biden gets out and confirms it. But let me know what you guys think. Really appreciate y'all rocking with me. Happy Saturday. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.